I've been thinking a lot about stories and storytelling. I started a new book just about the importance of storytelling and how humans have really, that's one thing that has differentiated us from other mammals, being able to tell stories and how important and compelling that is. So I thought maybe we could talk about how we enjoy stories in things that we consume, books, movies, etc.
Okay.
That sound good?
Sure. Welcome back to In Residence. I'm Keith.
And I'm Laura.
Hey, Laura.
Hey, Keith.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing well. What's going on with you?
So one thing I know that I've struggled with, especially on the podcast, I want to relay and tell stories about our lives, but I also don't want to bore people.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
There's this point where I try and figure out, like, how much do I share and how much do I hold back? Because I don't want to drone on and on and on.
Like that?
Just like that. Exactly. You got it.
I'll cut a couple of those out, maybe.
Yeah. Do you ever find yourself telling a story and you're like, yeah, this needs to be said right now?
I don't think I think like that.
No?
More often when I'm talking, I might stop myself and think, what am I trying to say? Or why am I talking? Like, what was my point? But that's something for me to work on because I want to be more of what are some of the stories that I can share that are worth telling, that are going to be generous and help others, right?
Right.
And that's kind of what we're leaning towards here. And maybe why I have such a hard time is because I want it to be helpful.
Right.
Because to me, that's shorthand for worth talking about, worth sharing, worth somebody giving their attention to, right? Like you talking about storytelling wraps right back into what we were talking about before with marketing. Once I learned marketing were stories, that's super important. And no wonder we tell stories because we're trying to get our point across or try to get somebody to go over here with us, right? That's marketing.
Yeah.
Got to tell a good story if you want to inspire people to do something, whether it's at work, whether it's in your home life, right?
Right.
Want them to buy your product or, yeah. You.
What?
So I don't necessarily think, oh yeah, this is super important. I should talk about this. But I need to start maybe thinking about that more with a little more intention.
Right.
And that's like doing reps in the gym, right? That takes time, that takes effort, right?
It does. Well, like I took so in my PhD program, I took an entire class on storytelling. Did I tell you that? Do you remember that?
I don't remember it.
So I took an entire class on how to tell stories for the purpose of research, really figuring out how to tell your story and to understand that when you told it, to really understand that the reactions that people had and that you could fine tune your story as you told it to become more and more impactful in that space. And the importance of not just telling your story, but when you're telling someone else's story, that you're not doing it from your lens, that you're doing everything you can to help capture that person and validate with them that how you're portraying their story is in fact resonating with how they see it.
Staying true to their perspective and
Correct.
Their experience and sharing that in a generous way, right?
Right.
Like amplifying their voice.
Right.
Versus taking it and using it.
Right.
Like the Little Mermaid.
You don't want to be Ursula for the Little
right.
Mermaid.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
That sounds like a great class.
Yeah. And it really was.
What a great skill to learn.
Right. I thought so too. And I don't even know why. Well, I know why.
At the time, you were probably like, what?
No. Well, I signed up for it because I had a professor that was a leader in focus group research, wrote the book on it. And so I had an amazing class with him. And then he had this class the next summer. And I was like, I'm taking it because what I learned in focus group research was so impactful. And I put it in practice in my day-to-day work. When I took the class on storytelling and research, it blew my mind what I thought was interesting, and I do find myself doing this, is that once you tell a story one time, you learn what landed, what didn't, where you can embellish, where you can add more detail, where you can add more synergy to the group, and you do it again. And I just see that in so much of what I do now. Not necessarily from a research perspective, but just as I'm doing speeches, as I'm doing stories, trying to connect with and relate to situations that are happening. And not just falsely connecting, but like truly connecting, being able to articulate and communicate those stories about why I understand is impactful.
Yeah, you're trying to improve because you care.
Correct.
Right? Because you see the importance of it, and it's not simply because I want to be the best at speaking about this. It's I want to be the best at communicating this because it's how I'm going to make an impact, like you just said.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
You said that you had a class with a professor that you enjoyed.
Yeah.
And so then you went and took another class with that same professor.
Correct.
I did that too.
Okay.
In English and in music. I branched out, but then once I was like, oh, I really like talking with this person, or the way that they're talking and instructing, I was like, oh, I'm going to go see what literature for adolescence is with this same professor, because they just, taught me this subject. I felt like maybe when I was taking the same classes from the same professor,
yeah,
I felt like maybe I missed out on meeting some other instructors.
Yeah.
But then when I think about all the things that I've learned from them, I think that's very similar to when I listen to a podcast. They'll have an author on, and then that author will talk about other authors and other books, and not just their own. And I love that, going down the rabbit hole, or just finding those connections.
Yeah.
And I think that's how I found so many people and so many works, whether it's books or other podcasts, right? It's how the word spreads, right? And I mean, that's in a sense, that's what you're doing in all those mediums, is somebody's on talking about their work, and in talking about their work, they're talking about people that influence them, right?
Right.
I think about, like, when I go in, like, my feed, or like say our Audible library or our Kindle library or my podcasts.
Yeah.
I'm like, where did I even find these people? You could do like a corkboard chart,
You could,
trying to
with a
draw.
string.
If I documented more,
Sure.
it would be so interesting to see, like, where I first heard about this author or that musician, and like just that web. It's so connecting those dots, pursuing something, and then that leads to another thing.
It's true though. I mean, like, thinking about, like, I was starting to dig into this week, the Rich Rolls podcast with Stutz, because I saw Stutz on the Netflix.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Right?
I made you watch that.
And so I've been digging into that.
He's got another episode, the Roll On episodes. He's
Okay.
got a guy that comes back. I can't remember his name, but I was listening to part of that the other night after you went to bed, and they're talking about journaling and writing. And I'm like, these are all things I think about. This is great. It feels like it's like synchronicity, right?
Yeah.
But it just also tends to be like the type of people I listen to. They're thinking about the things that I think about. So anyway.
Well, and
Rich
there
Roll
was
podcast.
someone that was on the Tim Ferriss podcast that you and I were talking about.
Brene Brown?
No, gosh darn it. It just came out. It was a replay, and you're like, oh yeah, I probably had already listened to
Oh, Rick Rubin.
Rick Rubin.
Yeah.
And we talked about Rick Rubin on here
Oh yeah.
about the creative act. Is that right?
The creative act.
Yeah.
A way of being.
Right. And so it all connects. And I'm like, how does Tim Ferriss know about Rick Rubin?
Because he's the best he is at what he does.
Right. So it's interesting to see how much connects.
Well, and I think there's a bit of a feedback loop with the things that we're interested in.
Yeah.
But that's okay, because I think I grew up probably thinking I needed to know everything about everything.
Really?
I just feel like, not saying I thought that, I just feel like that's the way I was educated, was like, you need to know everything about everything or you're dumb.
Okay.
Just over my head, not thinking that per se, but like, it just felt like, well, the mean wanting to know all the right answers is probably more of what I'm trying to say. And now, what is the saying? It's like, instead of a mile wide and an inch deep, do you want to be a generalist or a specialist kind of thing?
Right.
I think it's very situational. Like, I want to know how to fix a lot of the things around the house, but maybe I really only want to be really specific about a certain type of music, because that's going to be my niche, right? If that's something I want to specialize in, right?
Right.
Or went to your PhD for you specialized in something, right?
Yes.
So I'm not trying to be black or white or one or the other. I'm just saying the in between that stuff,
yeah,
is where it gets complicated, interesting, and hopefully fun, if you can take the time to realize it doesn't have to be a certain way because somebody else said so. It has to be a way that helps you navigate where you're trying to go.
Yeah.
So be as specific as you have to be, or good enough is good enough over here, right? I'm on a ramble.
That's all right. I love when you ramble.
Okay, so I kind of started rambling about books and podcasts, authors, because you brought up taking multiple classes from the same professor.
Right.
And that made me think about listening to a certain author and getting their next book and then their next book, and then maybe hearing about them on a podcast. And then all of a sudden I realized, like, oh, they're talking about this other author. So then I go and I explore them, right? And on it goes. So how about we talk a little bit about a little more fun?
Okay.
Like, how about we start with some books that we've been into?
Sure.
And then maybe some podcasts if we think of them.
Okay.
And then maybe some shows, because that's like how we relax.
Yeah.
After we take in all these other things.
Sounds good.
All right. So what are some books?
Oh my goodness. Okay. So some books that I've been listening to.
Or reading, sorry.
I
listen to so much.
No, I listen to quite a bit too. So thinking about some of the books I've been listening to in particular, Gary V, Day Trading Attention, and Jab, 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 Right Cross.
Nope.
Jab, 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 left hook.
Nope.
Jab, 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 right hook.
Yeah. Ding, ding, ding.
Ding, ding. Third time's a charm. So I've been listening to those.
So we talked about Day Trading Attention last time.
We did.
This is Marketing.
This is Marketing
Also,
by Seth Godin. Yep.
I'm re-listening to that because you were listening to it. I'm like, oh, I better re-listen to that. Anything else off the top of your head?
So The Story Edge is the book I've been reading with Kinder Hall. So that one is really good. I've also been reading some books for fun.
What were the ones? You have one of them, and I saw it in a newsletter. I was like, oh, these books, I heard these are really good. They're kind of like mystery thrillers, and they're doing them, or they say they're really good in book clubs. I bet you would like these. And you're like, I have that one.
So the one was The Last Devil to Die by Richard Osman.
Oh, okay. So you have one of them, or have you
So
read
I have one of
one?
them. I haven't read them. I read a couple chapters.
Okay.
But then I swapped over to The Lager Queen, which I'm really enjoying, and I'm almost through. I also started reading, I have so many books going at once, which is probably ridiculous. Let me just tell you the other ones I got going. Death in the Dark Woods by Annalise Ryan. It's a follow-up to The Death in Door County. So it is all about Sasquatch in northern Wisconsin and a murder mystery. I don't know how dark it is. The first chapter is very dark. So Death in Door County was about the Loch Ness Monster. So I have a couple of books going. I have another one I'm going to start called Funny Story by Emily Henry that I'm doing for a book club with my sister. I have several things going on.
Cool.
Over here on my Kindle. How about you?
Still working through Gary V's new book. I listened to Derek Sivers, 2 of his books.
Okay.
Anything You Want, 40 Lessons for a New Kind of Entrepreneur. And Hell Yeah or No, What's Worth the Doing.
Ooh.
So I listened to those over the last couple nights because they're only like 2 hours long or something.
Those sound good.
Yeah. He was on Tim Ferriss a while ago.
Okay.
And Audible's having a sale. So I was getting some books. So that's why you probably saw.
I got Gary V's.
Yeah. And then Terry Crews. He played football for a while, but he's an actor. Like you probably saw him in Idiocracy or Brooklyn Nine-Nine. All kinds of movies. What did I just see him in? Just saw him in something. No, he's in Deadpool.
He's in Deadpool?
He's in Deadpool 2,
What?
I think. I watched that without you. I had to see.
Fair.
I think you'll like it, actually.
You said it was funny.
They're really funny. Anyway, Terry Crews's book, Tough.
Okay.
I'm probably halfway through. It's like a memoir talking about his upbringing, trials and tribulations, toxic masculinity type stuff, transformation, the way his life. So it's great. Maybe about all I can think of right now, Paul Scheer's book.
Yeah.
Joyful Recollections of Trauma. And I have a whole bunch that I got because there is like a big sale. So Pathways to Possibility. So that's in the queue. The Advice Trap.
Okay.
One I've known about, but again, it was on sale. And I'm like, boom, I'll listen to that. I might actually have a hard copy of it somewhere. But again, I like to listen. So there's more in the hopper. Should we move on? Do you have any podcasts?
Oh, goodness. Let me see. So the Mel Robbins podcast, which I really love. I also have been listening to Coaching Real Leaders with Muriel Wilkins. So that's a Harvard Business Review one. And Wiser Than Me by Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
Yeah, you bring that one up a lot.
I really like it.
Just like I bring up How Did This Get Made?
Yeah.
Which is on my list.
Is it?
Yeah. Rich Roll. Been listening to him a little more. And what's the other one? Mayim Bialik, Blossom.
Yeah, I know.
And also on,
what's
the other one?
I
the other
know
show?
who Mayim Bialik is.
I didn't know. Not everybody does.
Oh my goodness, honey.
She's also on The Big Bang Theory.
Yeah.
She's got a podcast called Mayim Bialik's Breakdown.
Okay.
And so Paul Scheer was on there and talking about his book and stuff, promoting it. So it drew me back in. I saw he was on there. I'm like, I got to listen to this. So it was great. She has lots of fun and interesting guests. Let's see. Armchair Expert with Dax Shepard. I like that one. I go back to it every now and then. American Glutton, Ethan Suplee.
Yep.
Actor. Gets people on, talks about like nutrition, health, gym, all kinds of stuff with body image, things like that. I come back to that like maybe monthly every now and then and check in. And actually, the more I listen to that one, it seems like the better I do in that area of like movement, nutrition things. So it's like, I should listen to it more, like whatever you're taking in helps you keep going in the direction you want to go. Right. So
yeah. Supports you in that.
Yeah. I always go back to the Akimbo podcast, Seth Godin's podcast. That's always a good one. And I check out Block's podcast with Neil Brennan. That's kind of a newer one that we talked about. There's a whole episode where we basically like took his premise.
Talked about our blocks.
Yeah, I'll check in on that one. I haven't for a couple weeks. Probably just means there's a few episodes that'll be fun to listen to when I have some downtime where I'm like doing like work with my hands where I don't have to like be listening. So anyway, that's probably enough.
I thought of one more.
Yeah.
The Anxious Achiever. I really like it. I just listened to one all about burnout and balance and sometimes how working from home isn't actually working for people. Like post-pandemic.
Yeah. I'm
in the office most days, but there is that continuous tension between working from home and if you can work remote, why wouldn't you? But it was an interesting episode just about how sometimes working from home isn't as much balance as you think it was or should be, or that it's shifted from the pandemic to now, where it felt more balancy in the beginning.
Mm-hmm. I think everybody was cutting each other slack, right? And realizing that we were dealing with something none of us have really dealt with before.
Well, and I thought what was interesting, as she said, was at the beginning, when you're working from home, be like, oh, this is great. I have the freedom to do a load of laundry in the middle of the day. So I can run up and I can fold it, or I can do this over lunch or whatever. But now it's like, gosh, I really should be doing a load of laundry in the middle of my workday. So it's like it shifted from, ooh, look, I have this opportunity to almost a burden of weight. So anyway.
What's funny about that is I catch myself trying to do laundry while I'm working down here. And then you get wrinkly clothes because I forget them in the dryer.
It's all right. I have a steamer.
Right. Thank goodness.
I love a steamer. That's like, wow.
It's a good investment, to be honest.
Yeah.
It relieves a lot of stress if I accidentally
have a steamer.
Yeah.
It's so much better than an iron.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I don't know why.
Called steam technology. Revolutionary.
Is it a new thing?
It's only been around for several hundred years.
All I know.
I don't know. Several might be wrong. I'm pretty bad with history.
As I think I've traveled with one now for the last 9 months of my suitcase, anywhere I travel.
Yeah.
think I even steamed your t-shirt when we were on our anniversary last year.
Probably.
Did my dress. I'm like, let me do your t-shirt.
Thanks.
So satisfying.
It's humid out enough. I probably don't need it.
I'm like, it's okay. Let me use the thing I bought.
Yeah.
Okay. So we did books. We did podcasts. Do you want to move into shows?
Yeah. Let's do it.
Okay. What would you start with? You think of your top 5. Let's go through 5 each.
First thing that comes to mind is Severance.
Oh yeah.
On Apple
I like
TV
Severance.
Plus. Adam Scott. And I'm sick of waiting for another season.
Me too.
Yeah. There's just
Do you want to
something
give like
about it.
a high level overview, or do you think that'll ruin it for folks?
No. High level overview is there is a company you can work for that does a procedure where it implants something in your head that severs you from yourself so that your work self does not know what's happening outside of work. When you leave the building, you don't know what you did at work. And when you're at work, you don't know what you did when you left.
Right.
So you're severed. Thinking about basically you're one person, but then technically you're kind of not.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's a whole nother person there and you don't know. So drama and some comedy ensue. I don't know. It's a real thinker and it's dramatic, and yeah, we've been waiting for like what, a year and a half or 2 years.
It's got to be a year and a half or more.
So,
what's that on again?
It's on Apple TV Plus.
Apple TV Plus.
How about you?
I'm going to keep the Adam Scott theme going. I really like Loot. So it's Maya Rudolph.
Right. He's
and
on
Adam
that
Scott.
too.
He is on that too. It's really funny. It is all about a billionaire, Maya Rudolph, becomes a billionaire after a divorce. Well, she's a billionaire before the divorce.
Yep.
Let's be real. But she decides she wants to run her charity. So it's all about her kind of becoming herself post-divorce with lots and lots of money.
Yeah.
Pretty funny. I like it.
That one's definitely more of a comedy.
That is more of a comedy, and I like it. And that's on Apple Plus too, right? Apple TV Plus.
Yeah. I'm gonna keep this theme going.
Let's go.
Adam Scott.
Okay.
Parks and Rec.
Oh gosh, that's an oldie, but a good. Not that old, but
It's
older.
Older, yeah.
You're keeping the party going.
I can rewatch that. I have rewatched it.
Yeah.
Probably a couple times. You know, Amy Poehler, Adam Scott, Nick Offerman, Rashida Jones, Rob Lowe's in it.
That's right.
I mean, everybody. Aziz Ansari
Yeah.
is in there. Aubrey Plaza, Chris Pratt. He's like a super action star now. Like I know everyone. I know everyone's real names. People probably know that show. It's about the Parks and Recreation Department of a small town in Indiana.
Yeah.
Everybody knows that.
Yeah.
I don't Google it, watch it. It's probably on Netflix or Peacock or whatever. I just watched a really not great movie with Adam Scott in it, and he was the best part.
Oh god.
Madame Web. Marvel movie.
Oh my.
So bad.
Oh my.
They did that on How Did This Get Made?
Oh geez.
It was so bad. He was good. Anyway, does that conclude the Adam Scott portion of the show?
Probably Adam Scott portion, yes.
Okay. Give us something.
Okay, so I'm gonna go back to kind of an oldie, but a goodie. It's not that old. Schitt's Creek.
Oh yeah.
So good. It's funny. So it's all about kind of a really rich family who loses everything. And so they end up in a town that they bought.
Like as a joke, right?
As a joke called Schitt's Creek. SCHITT, just to be aware. Catherine O'Hara and
Eugene Levy.
Dan Levy.
His sister. His sister is Alex. Not Alex. No. His real sister is the waitress.
Twyla?
Yeah.
If you haven't watched it, I will love that journey for you.
Another comedy, right?
Another comedy. Very, very, very funny. That's one I would throw out there.
Okay. Billions.
That was on my list. No.
Well, there's more.
All right.
That's on Showtime. It's got comedic elements, but it's more drama, more thriller. Brian Koppelman, Dan Levine, showrunners, creators. I feel like we've talked about that before, but anyway, it's called Billions. So it's about like billionaires and maybe how much power they have, or all these types of dynamics of things happening between who has power and money, who has power and authority through the law, and drama ensues.
Yes, it does. Okay, so I'm going to say this one, and you might roll your eyes. Bridgerton.
Jeez. Yeah.
I know. I really like Bridgerton.
It's to me, it's like, okay, maybe I should grab a book when you're watching that, like you do for hockey with me.
That's true. Gosh, we're only like a few episodes into season 3, and I'm like, maybe we'll watch it tonight. And I'm like,
I could think of several things I'd rather watch.
oh no. Okay, Bridgerton. I know other people love it, right?
Yeah. It's not that bad, but it's not in my top 10. That's
Okay.
for sure of things I'd watch.
Yeah, right now it's in my top 5.
I'd rewatch Parks and Rec before I.
Fine. What about you?
Well, we just finished A Gentleman in Moscow, that kind of limited series, right?
Yeah, that was good.
Definitely recommend the book.
So I'll have to read the book.
I think I enjoyed the series more because I had read the book. And you really enjoyed the series.
I did like the series, yeah.
So what I'm really saying is I really think you'll enjoy the book.
Okay.
Because of how much you enjoyed the story in the series itself. Completely different mediums, and I think they did a great job.
Do you have a strong stance on book versus show? Or does it depend on how it is translated?
I think it depends on, it's fair to say that most of the time the book is always better than the movie or the show. But like I just said, they're different mediums. You can't go to a movie expecting to get all of the granular detail and insight that you get. Like you can get so much detail in a book that you just can't get on film or on the screen.
Yeah.
But I completely get why everyone's like, the book was better. You hear that for everything all the time. And most of the time it's true. I can't think of an instance where it's not true.
Yeah. I was going to say like Harry Potter, the books are better.
And I never read the books.
Hunger
I
Games,
listened to them though.
The books are better.
Yeah.
Right?
Ready Player One, the book is so much better. The movie is horrible. Don't watch Ready Player One. The book is amazing.
Is that like a PSA right there?
Yeah.
Okay.
You're welcome. Thank me later. And actually read the book and then watch the movie just so you know how right I am. But don't pay to watch it. Like, don't give them money. Don't get the,
wow. Don't reward them for.
Our podcast is really going to give it a bump. They're going to be like 2 people that went to watch the movie. That's going to like double their sales probably.
That's kind of funny.
What are some more that we've been watching that we're like caught up on or that we've like, oh, when's that going to come out?
So Shorzy is another one that
I've heard the 3rd season is coming at some point. Jason Mantzoukas said that.
That makes me so excited. So Shorzy is a character on Letterkenny that I was not exactly thrilled about seeing a spinoff, but people kept saying it's good, it's good, it's good.
I was telling you
really?
It was supposed to be good. We have
you
to watch
did too.
it.
Some people at work said it was supposed to be good. I'm like, It was so good.
It is.
It is so good. Honestly, if you like hockey.
Even if you don't like hockey, there's not that much hockey in it.
There actually isn't, but
they're just hockey players.
I feel like I know more about the Stanley Cup finals right now because I watch Shorzy. It's true. All right. Do you have one more? This will be your number 5.
You're counting?
I am.
Oh, good. I probably said more than that already.
No, you had Billions, Gentlemen in Moscow, Severance, and Parks and Rec.
Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
9-9.
I started watching that to help like lull you to sleep.
Yeah.
Because we've already watched it. I don't think it doesn't catch your ear to stay awake because you already know. It's so funny.
It's super funny.
That's something I just put on for like 10 minutes, like to kind of tuck you in. But yeah, it's such a good show, joke after joke, and it all works. Terry Crews is in there.
Yeah, that's right.
I love him. Do you have another one?
I do. I lost it. It'll come back. Couples Therapy.
On Showtime too.
That's on Showtime.
Yeah.
With Dr. Orna. You and I have been watching it. It's a little more serious because it's working through people's relationships than, right?
Yeah.
In therapy.
Yeah.
But Dr. Orna she's amazing.
Yeah.
So that's one I would definitely recommend too.
Yeah. It's a good watch and you can learn something.
You do.
Like I know we definitely like we'll be watching and all of a sudden we'll be like look at each other like, oh, that's you, or like that's you, like
it's you.
Or like, oh, that's you, oh, that makes sense, a little bit. Yeah, like, oh, I learned something.
I think my favorite seasons were 1 and 3. 2 was okay. But 1 was good and 3 was... The last one was really good too, I thought.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Any special mentions?
Oh.
Quick fire. I have one. Wine Country.
You've mentioned that all the time.
I love it. That's Maya Rudolph, which connects to Luke, which connects to Adam Scott.
Amy Poehler's in that too, isn't she?
Amy Poehler too, yeah.
And Tina Fey.
You got it.
Black Monday.
Oh,
I don't know if that's on the service anymore that it was on.
Really? Paul
Can't
Scheer's
find
in
it.
that. His name's Keith.
Character's name is Keith, yeah. It's about the market crash in the late 80s. Funny, dramatic, all kinds of stuff happening in that show.
Yeah, Black Monday's good.
Not going very rapidly here.
No, I like White Lotus. That was pretty good.
Yeah, that was stressful.
A little messed up.
Yep. Last of Us.
Ooh, yeah.
Waiting for that. A new season for that too.
Yep.
That was a little intense, but good.
What was the one with you can't make a omelet without breaking some Greggs?
Oh, Succession.
Succession, yeah.
We burned through that one pretty quick.
That one was pretty good too. It's disturbing, but good.
Oh, what's the one that we started and it was pretty darn good? And I was like, great, another show I'm going to want to watch. Silicon Valley.
Yeah, Silicon Valley. That was
we
good
hadn't
too.
watched that yet.
No, that's a journey we get to go on. And also, Only Murders in the Building is another journey we'll be on.
Finally working.
It's finally working. The first episode wouldn't play for a while. It was weird.
For a couple years, we've been trying to watch that show
Yeah.
every couple months. We're like, oh, let's try to watch that. And it's like, this is not available in your region. I'm like, I think it is. It's like the only show that wouldn't work on Hulu.
It's true.
Anyway, we have too many shows that we watched and too many streaming services.
Well,
sounds like a lot, but we don't.
No, we don't watch hours every night, but we happen to watch a little bit at a time. I also like Virgin River. It's pretty good. You roll your eyes on that.
Oh, it's like watching a Hallmark Christmas movie.
You're welcome.
You got me to watch it enough where
You're invested?
I'm invested.
Yes.
Yep. And I love talking smack about it while I'm watching it.
I know you do. And I just whack you. I'm like, come on. You be nice to her. She's figuring it out.
Don't make me sound like that.
Or him.
Yeah.
He's figuring it out. Knock it off.
Okay.
Anything else?
No.
I'm trying to think. I feel like there's more that we're leaving unsaid.
Well, we can always do a part 2.
Okay. I like that idea.
Let's wrap it up.
Sounds good.
That was a lot of recommendations.
That was a lot of recommendations.
That was a full recommendation show.
So I am noticing that we consume a lot of content.
Yes.
It doesn't always make it front and center on our shows, but I'm kind of glad that we took the time to do it.
All right. Let's get out of here.
Sounds good.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
I love you.
I love you too.
Yeah. Next step is connect the dots, write about it, and think about things a little more so that I can show up better.
I'm laughing because you look like you're using the force.
Oh, I'm trying.
You're like, I am going to take this and make diamonds.